Open it up.
What's up, everybody? This is the DNA Money Podcast, and we're on episode 9 today.
Yeah, 9. Closing up to the number 10. So that's anniversary, I think. 9. Seems like a
Exciting.
show already. It's like a average season of a show is like 10 episodes. So
Right, and our average length of the podcast is probably, of
as
an episode
of a show, yeah.
is maybe even longer than the show, right?
Yeah. Game of Thrones like length of video.
Surprisingly, I never watched Game of Thrones.
You did not?
Maybe half of the first episode. That's what I did.
Dude, what are you doing? I mean, but yeah, it's a whole kind of worms, this conversation. But the last episode is garbage. So
The last season.
last season, yeah, and season number 7 is kind of too.
Number 7. Oh God.
Yeah, there's 8 seasons, and 7 is kind of meh, and the 8 is just garbage, just complete garbage, just like horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, welcome to DNA Money, where we discuss how garbage is Game of Thrones. The last season, at least. They're actually launching the new Game of Thrones show,
Really?
like prequels.
Oh, okay. Is it HBO as well?
Yep. So
Nice.
I think it's gonna be good because the source material is there. So maybe.
Oh, the books. There are like books written.
Yeah, actually, so the way I think I haven't read the prequels, but I think the way the prequels work is there are books, but they're gonna fill in a lot of details because the books are. It's like they're trying to cover a long time span in a
got
short
it.
book.
Yeah.
And then the main series is kind of detailed in the books, and then
Yeah.
so they probably end up filling in a lot of details. Same thing with the Lord of the Rings Amazon show that they're trying to launch. So in September, I think they're coming out with Lord of the Rings for Amazon
Nice.
Prime,
Yeah, heard of
and
that.
so they bought like part of the rights for Lord of the Rings, some historical kind of age in Lord of the Rings, but they didn't buy all of that age, and they're also trying to compress like thousands of years of the book that the book describes
Yeah.
into like one season where every character is gonna be like living in the same timeline, kind of. So it's kind of I don't know.
So it's not original.
And the trailer is
Really?
complete garbage. So
Huh.
it's like we'll get very politically incorrect, but I don't know. But
that I've heard of that. Yeah.
The
characters.
the characters are like the dwarfs is a black women dwarf king that's has no beard, which is not the lore at all. And then like elves are black,
Interesting.
which in books they're like every time they describe an elf, I think it's like blonde,
see.
tall, skinny, white, kind of like pale, not even white, just
Yeah.
like pale person.
Oh, the elves specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
that's how
they
they're known.
like turn everything on its head, and yeah, they put hobbits in when I think the book says that hobbits weren't a thing back then, so they kind of
Just mixing a lot of things and
yeah, and
I guess following the trends. It's interesting where this whole, like entertainment industry is going
I think
with this new trends.
it's surprising that the Amazon did it. I was like very surprised because Amazon Prime, at least, is kind of famous for not giving a shit at all. Like,
Oh, really?
Have you seen any Prime shows? Like
Shows. I only saw the something with a castle. Where
Man in a High Castle.
Man in a High Castle.
Did you see it all, or just a couple of episodes?
No, I watched the whole thing,
Hmm.
and I think the first. So this is the show about, kind of like historical turnout of a scenario where what if Germans actually won the Second World War?
and there's like multiverse component to it.
Yeah, and
I
the
only
multiverse
watched
component
first season.
Yeah, because it's not sci-fi at all,
Mhm.
or a little bit of sci-fi in the season 1, but in season 2 it becomes multiverse,
Mhm.
and you can travel between like timelines and different worlds. So it's a little bit. But I really like the season 1 because it's
Mhm.
cool to see like what people think the world would look like.
Yeah.
If Germans won the war.
Yeah, and so they also have like The Boys, the show about like superheroes. They're
Oh, yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
just, I think, released
Really
the
season
third
3?
season. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so The Boys is like, it's like brutal caricature on everything, like about superheroes and current climate and how everybody's on drugs and all that stuff, and like superheroes being on drugs, crazy, like only
Damn.
wanting money, like corporations using superheroes to like extract
Profit.
money for it. Yeah, it's
Interesting.
like,
But that's honestly what the real world or what the realistic scenario would have looked like for them, right? If they
so
were real.
that's what I was expecting from the Prime, the Amazon Prime, so for their Lord of the Rings show to be like, and it's not that at all from what it looks like, because I guess they invested too much money in it to kind of risk it. But I think they
Yeah.
blew it by not risking it. I don't know. I don't know if they blew it. Maybe it's amazing. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. Yeah. No. Super interesting. And going back to our episode 9 and the anniversary in the next one. I guess we don't have too many updates this time.
Mm-hmm.
We have uploaded another episode last week. Two more episodes, right? Or was it
one?
I think
One.
it was one. So I guess we were kind of busy this past week. Both were traveling for work. You had almost a week long trip.
Long.
You had a day long, but still was super busy. But I feel like we gotta keep it going, and
Yeah, so far it's been going pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, episode 9, 10 seems like a good milestone to hit.
Yeah. What do you think of us? I mean, we only have 2 episodes on Spotify.
Yeah.
And we're still exploring the other platforms and still working on uploading episodes there. But what are your thoughts like on us being mostly present on the YouTube?
I think it's a shame. We should spend more time doing things with this podcast. Just takes a lot of time to like upload it all and do it all, and yeah, definitely let's upload everything we have to Spotify, like Reddit.
Yeah, but what's interesting, I think, in terms of from monetization perspective, Spotify and all these podcast platforms, they don't generate that much, of a revenue stream for podcast hosts and for podcast shows. From what I'm gathering, I think YouTube does a way better job.
Maybe I'm not sure though. I mean, I never heard anybody talk about like monetization on Spotify, and for us, we're too small to even experience any monetization at all. So not even YouTube. So I think for us, like TikTok and Instagram, if we decide to do that, so it's gonna be a better like monetization stream initially, because I think I don't know what it is on Instagram. I think you can get monetized with like 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 followers, and on Instagram, those are gonna be mainly like bots anyway. So, and then and on TikTok, you only need like one video to pop up for you to get like thousands of subscribers. They're not really gonna follow you per se, but you can get monetized there real quick. Actually, my girlfriend, she just uploaded a video to Instagram, kind of promoting her business.
Yep.
And that video has already paid her like $100 in like 2 days. Just
how does that work though? She uploads the video, and people watch it and then Instagram algorithm understands that this video got a lot of views and then they decide to pay you, or what's the...
So it's the same as like YouTube and all those programs. You just get your partnership kind of deal, and they start paying you per views. They call it bonuses.
I see.
I think it tops at $1,000 for like kind of first batch, and then they increase the limit. But yeah, you can get paid on Instagram, and TikTok does the same thing.
And what do they... I guess what's in that for Instagram? Like, do they show like an advertisement or a commercial before presenting the videos to
I think
the followers?
Yeah, so like when you do your reels, I think right now it doesn't. So they only do like pay for reels views, and so they're trying to like overtake TikTok. I think that's one of the goals, and the other goal, they're probably gonna insert the ads there, but I don't think they do right now.
Yeah, on TikTok they do. I know when you
TikTok
scroll through
sure.
it. Yeah, on Reels. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I honestly...
they'll definitely add it there.
Yeah, I honestly removed Instagram around 2 or 3 weeks ago just because I was spending so much time like consuming content.
Yeah, I did the same kind of thing. Trying to consciously stop using Instagram for like more than 5 minutes. I'm like, when I find myself on Instagram, I'm like, what am I doing? Just close it.
Yeah.
And open Twitter.
Yeah, that's what I do now. Twitter or Telegram, because I've signed up for a couple of channels or several channels there.
Yeah, but it's not better. It's
Twitter
is
Twitter for me is actually better. I mean, I mostly follow news and then like venture capitalists or like startups news and stuff like that. So
you might think it's beneficial for you, but it's not really. That's my findings.
No, I think, well, I definitely spend less time than on Instagram because it's easier to stop reading news than like watching funny videos or like the sketchy videos. And second thing is, I mean, if you still like if you get news and it's still more useful information than just watching those dumb videos on Instagram.
Is it? I mean,
if you get if you read industry news and like you discuss it,
if
with
you can filter it out, then maybe.
Yeah.
But it's just in my experience, I start from reading like startup tips and like marketing tips and like programming tips, and it all the longer I scroll, it all devolves into like right wing, left wing. Politics.
That's true. Politics
in tech to like politics in tech. Like these companies.
That's actually true. Yeah. Yeah,
Stock
in terms of
market,
reading,
I mean, the interest rates are like blah blah blah. This is his
conspiracy
fault. This is his fault.
Conspiracy theories, and then like crypto ads and all of that. That's true. Yeah, I don't know why, but Twitter is really politicized. Like it's more of a leftist platform now, right?
I don't know about that though.
Well, I mean, after they banned Trump and all of that.
They did that. It just, I don't know. Like I get all kind of shit in there, like scrolling through it. So at some point, I'm like catching myself on, like, I started from reading like startup tips and this is how you should like promote your startup at first, and then this is what's your like this is the growth strategy that we use to get this many users. Is like pretty interesting, and then
slowly changes topics.
Slowly it's just this is his fault, this is her fault, and you're doing it wrong, I'm doing it right, like
but I think the value that Twitter brings to me, or I guess that I'm still like exploring and discovering, is that you can it's cool to search for like any topic that you want, and then it basically will show you certain results or conversations of what people are saying about that particular topic. And I think what's cool is that you can comment and reach out to that person, and they would actually they would respond to you, or there's a higher chance they respond to you, unless it's a big person with a lot of followers, because they like having that engagement, right? Like they
Yeah,
posted
yeah.
something, they tweeted something, and then you're like, oh, I think this is interesting, and I'd love to learn more thoughts on this and that. And you reach out to them, and then they can DM you. So that's pretty interesting, I think, because you can have access to people with different backgrounds and different views and different expertise. Like I had a couple of and by the way, I'm not too big on Twitter. I mostly consume content, but I had a couple of startups actually reaching out to me, and they're like, "Oh, I saw that you follow us. Would love to like tell you more about what we do and hold a discussion." I mean, most of them are not great, but it's still an interesting channel of like deal flow as well.
Yeah, I guess if you can get big enough on Twitter, I also find that truly most of the like startup founders and VCs are on Twitter. They're not on YouTube. They're not on Spotify. They either share their ideas through Twitter or through like newspapers or whatever. So.
Yeah. Twitter is just a faster way and more. How do I say that? I mean, versus if we're comparing that to newspapers, right? You can get your thoughts faster to the public.
Yeah.
It's more direct and like less edited. And what's cool, you can argue right there with people.
Yeah. Get the feedback right away. My Twitter is like, I don't know. I never figured out how to like write a compelling tweet. Every time it's
right. The thing is, do you want to put in a lot of effort and thinking about what you should, how you should tweet about certain topic, and I guess a lot of people are they increase their engagement there is they would ask questions or like post some radical or like contrarian thoughts there, which increases engagement, which I think is a good strategy. But then, I don't know. And then a lot of people are being sarcastic there, and or maybe posting some like dumb stuff, which generates engagement too. But I agree with you. It's the same for me. It's not as easy to like.
I don't even know what
stuff.
should I post there. Like, should I post news? Should I post my opinion?
Well, usually,
opinion on what should I post there?
I guess what I see a lot of people do is like they read an article and then they want to express their opinion, so they would retweet the article and then write their comment.
And then it gets into all this his fault, her fault, all that conspiracy theories and like rabbit holes.
Yeah. Did you see some news on Musk and how he may back out of that deal
did
from
he
Twitter?
Back out or
No, he didn't back out, but he basically said that unless you guys provide me more accurate data on your bot users on Twitter, I'm gonna back out. And I think the latest updates are that they're actually gonna provide that more detailed information to him. And what's also interesting is there was a Tesla employees conference recently, and I saw that saw somewhere. Basically, one of the employees at Twitter asked Musk, what they should do about all this Twitter kind of noise and Twitter news, and Musk just said ignore it. Like just don't pay attention to it, because it affects them as well, especially since they own a bunch of like stock options. And there's a lot of economic pressure right now in the markets, right? So the stock of the price goes down, but then there's additional news of Musk saying that Musk sold or is liquidating a big part of his stock to finance that deal, and it kind of affects the stock price even more, and so they are concerned.
Yeah, I would be concerned too if I worked for Tesla. Yeah, I wonder how it feels like. But right now, like most of the tech stocks are just in a dumpster. Like
just
even
clapped.
Yeah. Even like the big ones, Microsoft, Apple, Google, everything's like, but especially the SPACs and all that. Imagine working there. So for our viewers, the bulk of the salary, I mean not the salary, like the income that
compensation.
the compensation of those tech employees is the stock options. Stock options, or if the company is public, it's probably RSUs or restricted stock unit.
Mm-hmm.
So like pretty much stock. And so for like kind of like to ballpark it. So for example, I was recently looking at the executives at the Carvana and what they
Yeah.
were making. I think there's some data somewhere. So what they were making is they were making $700,000 in comp in the salary. So kind of cash comp, like salary plus bonuses.
Yeah.
And they would make 7 million extra
Mm.
in stocks,
Stock up. Yeah.
stock bonuses. So you can imagine if for those Carvana executives, it's probably like insane right now because their stock value went down 90%.
9%.
90.
90%.
Yep.
What the hell?
So can you imagine? So those guys were making like $8 million combined
Wow.
with these options plus cash.
Fixed salary. Yeah.
And so now it's like 1.5 million.
That's
and you can
insane.
imagine them building like their lifestyle around making $10 million, probably investing, making like commitments,
taking loans against
Yeah,
their stock holdings. Yeah.
maybe invest in venture capital, and like what pressure that's gonna put on venture
Yeah.
capitalists that took their money, like all of this
Yeah.
down the
It's the whole
chain.
chain. Yeah. And I was gonna say first that this is a, and I think I still believe that this is like a right incentive system, right? Because executives gotta make sure that the stock performs well, and if this stock price theoretically should be based on the fundamental performance of the company, then it's in their interest to make sure that the company performs well. But yeah, I guess in certain cases like this, in current economic conditions, it's just
Yeah.
more uncontrollable.
Yeah, but the tech companies don't generate much cash anyway, so it's gonna make sense that they're gonna get paid in stock because they don't make that much money anyway. So
Yeah. And also I think Carvana probably gained a lot of traction and just increase in stock price because
of the
the
used
car
car
prices
market,
and the used car market.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it doubled, but it definitely went up
it
in
definitely
the past
went up,
2 years.
and you couldn't buy a new car because of the shortages of
And supply
chips
chain
and all that
interruptions.
stuff.
Yeah.
So the only thing you could do is to buy like used
The
car.
used one. Yeah.
And the inventory was very low, so like
Insane.
it made sense that they went up. I don't know how much they went up though. I think they came down more than they went up. I think it's kind of like they started falling even before all the bad financial news and
What are you referring to
Carvana.
Carvana? Oh, you mean the stock price went up?
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
So they started falling. Their stock started falling even before like all of the interest rates and all that stuff.
Interesting.
So there's something wrong with the company, I think.
Well, it might be a similar story to Peloton somewhat,
Yeah,
right? Because
similar.
Peloton blew up during the blew up in a good way. I mean, during the COVID, a lot
and
of people
then blew
started
up in a bad way too.
blew up in a bad way. Yes. So a lot of people started ordering their equipment, working out from home, and then as soon as the COVID or we started getting back to normal, I feel like these people renewed their gym memberships and kind of to stay, or I don't know if they probably still work out on Pelotons, but it's the new users growth slowed down a lot.
Yeah, they couldn't provide enough growth, and they had inventory enough to like supply their users, so like their buyers for more than a year. And so in that inventory, of course, you have to maintain it, you have to pay for it, like store it, gotta ship it, gotta do a lot of things. It's like electronics. If it just stays somewhere in the warehouse, it might get bad. I mean,
it affects the free cash flow. If we're looking at it from like accounting and
then
finance view.
can they buy? So like they still have contracts to buy more. So like they kind of shoot themselves in the leg by growing too fast.
By the way, I didn't see any like news about Peloton. The last thing that I remember, there were a lot of discussions around them a couple of months
Not
ago.
hype anymore.
Not hype. Yeah, because you remember there were even talks about Apple potentially buying Peloton.
They were, but
Yeah,
it's
not
gonna
happening.
happen. Yeah. Did you see WWDC?
No, what happened to them?
WWDC is the Apple convention.
No, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I haven't either. But I thought maybe you did. I know they presented the iOS 16. They presented new CarPlay. So now CarPlay in the new cars, I think it's probably not gonna work for the old cars, but maybe for Beamers it's gonna work, or Audis. So
For Beamers?
yeah, and Audis.
Okay.
Because so they made it so CarPlay, instead of taking over this multimedia thing, it can now take over the main kind of like dials too. So like if you have electronic dials on your car, it can take it over too. So you know how in like new cars they have speedometer and tachometer like digitized.
Yeah.
So it can make it Apple.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that's pretty cool.
Like custom kind of Apple Watch like design of those dials, and you can see music in the middle and like car data.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. I love CarPlay. They mentioned that the 82% of the car buyers, I think maybe that's new car buyers, are strongly considering like if the car has
CarPlay?
CarPlay, it's just like strong buying point for them.
Yeah.
So I think from my
I feel like
experience,
every car has nowadays.
nah,
Every new car.
nah,
No?
not every new car. But from my experience, that seems accurate. I don't know how accurate it is, to be honest. Like in general, because 82% seems high. A lot of people have no idea what CarPlay is even. I think, but so like Toyota and Lexus, I think Lexus still don't have CarPlay. So like you buy a car.
Lexus belongs to Toyota.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So and Toyota, I think maybe like last year they started putting them in.
Toyota definitely has No? Huh.
I think maybe they just started putting them in.
Oh, Honda does for sure.
Yeah.
Toyota, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Honda maybe. But so like the car maker as big as Toyota is like as big as it gets. They don't have it. So
how does it work, by the way? Do you know if this CarPlay software is that a product? Because I know that there's Android Play or
Android
Auto, yeah, system as well, and then for is that
Link or I don't know.
Yeah, there's some other
Mirror
operational system as well.
Yeah.
But how do they get integrated into the cars? Like, who does the system belong to? The CarPlay. Who has the rights?
I think it's like license deal. That's my.
Who's the
guess.
licensor?
The Toyota Corporation would be the licensee.
No, they're licensee. Yeah, but who is licensed? But CarPlay, there is a Apple CarPlay, right? But then there is
no, it's just Apple CarPlay.
But what about Android Auto?
But that's a different system, right?
Oh, okay. So they just got it. Interesting. Because for me, when I start my car and before I connect my phone, right, there is I just have this default screen, and I have 3 options. So Apple Car, or whatever that's called,
CarPlay.
Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and then there's something else. So I thought that because it's displaying 3 options, I thought that's like one system that supports all 3 types of software.
Their system like supports 3, but
interesting.
like their native multimedia system kind of supports it. But yeah, Toyota for the longest time didn't have any integrations. I think maybe now they do, but I'm not sure even if they like do on all cars. some other car makers. I'm not sure if all American car makers. So like
Yeah.
it's a still like there's a lot of car makers that don't support it. So
Yeah.
and the fact that it's expanding, and if you get a fancy enough car to have like all digitized,
I know
but
that
I think in the future,
Porsche does have that.
yeah, Porsche must get that. I don't know how they will. So like the new ones probably will have it. I don't know, like with those like standard old school car producers, you don't really get software updates on like in the car.
Yeah, you have to.
So like I don't know how that's
I
gonna
see.
work, but
I see.
with the new ones, yeah, I think Tesla. So I don't know what's gonna happen to Tesla though.
I mean, Tesla doesn't have Apple CarPlay,
Yeah,
and
they don't have.
and they're not gonna do it.
I don't think they are gonna do it.
Yeah,
Which
they
is
didn't-
kind of like,
yeah. I mean, I used Tesla several times, and I mean, it's cool to have their screen, but it is true that like not having Apple Car, it's I don't want to say it's less intuitive.
mhm.
Like their system actually kind of reminds Apple.
Yeah, their system is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not standard, and that's because
it's not integrated as well with the phone and
yeah, that's
FaceTimes and all that stuff. I don't know.
yeah. That's why it takes time to get used to it.
Yeah.
But what's cool is you mentioned the software updates, and I think this is one of the competitive edges of not only Tesla but all this like new car makers, including Lucid and others. That's because you can release software quicker, or you can get car to the market quicker, and if there's any bugs or something like that or anything like that, you can fix them on the go. Just release a software update, and then your car gets up to date, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they also released the M2 chips. The Apple did.
Oh, nice.
M2, but for like Mac Airs and.
Damn, I just got my Mac
But
with M1.
Yeah, but M2 Pro is probably gonna be winter.
Oh, I see.
So it's gonna take some time. But yeah, it's a little better than the old ones. What else? Well, what else did they release?
No AirPods?
I'm not sure, but mostly like iOS 16.
Yeah.
So, and that's gonna have like new lock screen, new notification system, higher fidelity notifications. Like you can have continuous notifications, so they kind of showcase the Uber, where it's gonna like show you like kind of a widget as a notification,
and
it's
where the
gonna
car
show the
is.
progress where the car is and all that stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
for some other company too. So that's pretty cool. They're of course gonna release like the framework for that, and I'm gonna look into it. And I'm probably not gonna do anything with that knowledge, but
framework for like writing apps,
building those,
apps. Yeah.
I wonder how can I implement that in my app if I'm gonna do that. So like continuous updates and notification. I'm not sure. Probably not. I could probably show like a banner with like your new credit score is and how it progressed, and maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Or your new balances, and who knows? Maybe that's a valid use case. Like, let's see.
Tell about the your app, because I don't think everyone knows what that one is.
So my app, I'm building like a personal finance app, and kind of like personal finance is kind of partly a theme of this podcast. So I'm gonna support it with an app, and maybe you guys can give me feedback. So I'm in a process of bootstrapping it. So far I got the authentication working. Yay!
Nice.
Finally.
I don't know what that means.
Authentication, so like logins, screens,
okay.
registration. So like
nice.
I'm going with phone authentication for now, just strictly only like phone authentication. But there's a lot of systems that gotta be built around it. But for now, I'm just bare bones, just like type in your phone, code, whatever, log in. next thing I'm gonna build the add your bank account to it, and then
Through Plaid, probably.
Yeah,
Through
Plaid,
Plaid.
yeah. And so you're gonna be able to add your bank accounts, import your transaction data. But that's work in progress. But
Yeah.
most
Cool.
of those pipes are already set up for me. I just need to build a UI for it. Let's see.
Nice. No, look forward to
Yeah,
using
maybe
it.
I'll start doing more updates once. So like for now, I've been mostly building like small infrastructure building blocks, like figuring out how to deploy it all and all that stuff. And now I'm gonna be more focused on like visual stuff, so maybe be able to showcase something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, I think with as opposed to hardware products, I think it's really really cool to see how like quickly you can iterate or even get feedback for software applications and for software products. I think this because again, I guess from my background, right, I mostly invest and I'm basically with a venture capital firm, and we invest a lot of different startups, but mostly look at hardware as opposed to software. And software is really again amazing in the sense that you can iterate so quickly, learn from your mistakes, and then get feedback and then fix it like within, well, I don't know, days or
Well,
definitely shorter time period than hardware.
yeah, it is easier. So the challenge is with the mobile apps, at least. So in general, for like web apps or B2B software or whatever, you can just sit down, come up with the solution, kind of fix it, deploy it. It's fixed. The
Yeah.
challenge with the mobile apps is that um, before you can fix anything, you gotta like submit it to Apple. They gotta
I
review
see.
it. It takes like days. And so if you ship something that's broken to AppStore, it can get hard to resolve.
Resolve in a sense that, but you can just update that, right? Like you can upload a new update and then people will just.
No. When you upload a new update through Apple or Google, they gotta review it manually. And so
Oh,
there is a
wow.
person, some contractor probably, I don't know, in India or whatever. They're gonna go in, like your app, try use it, and then
So they're actually using every new
yep,
app that's been uploaded to.
every update to an app.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And can that be automated, or is that at least partially automated?
Probably they have some tools, but no.
That's insane.
Yeah. And sometimes it's ridiculous. So like you post an app. I had this issue one time. So I uploaded an app. It had a subscription feature. So what happened was I uploaded. They kind of go to verify it, and they come back in like 2 days saying, "Oh, your app has a bug. Your subscription feature doesn't work." And so whenever they come back with that, I think your next review is like can take up to a week because they determined you're like
I
not
see.
good. And but the problem was that it's not that the feature didn't work, is that the person that was testing the feature wasn't connected to the internet, and so they went to click
What the hell?
subscribe in my app,
Yeah.
and they got unable to connect, and they just screenshotted it, sent it to me. I'm like, you don't have internet. What's going on?
But how is it possible?
And so
They're
the
just.
next review took a week, and they came back. Oh, cool! Like it all works. We found another bug, and so like to fix that bug, it took like 2 weeks because they were just not reviewing it properly.
Interesting. And I think with so if you're working, let's say by yourself, then obviously it takes more time and it's just more difficult to upload like a ready to go application. And with in startups or companies, I'm sure they have like their quality assurance department, right, where they
Well, if
tested
it's a
the
big
shit out
company,
of it.
startups probably don't.
But they still have several other people to go through it and review.
Yeah. Well, they might, but they might
But
miss something still.
I'm also sure there are third parties that do that,
Do what?
do the quality assurance and
Well, they might
tested.
be, but the Apple's gonna do it for you anyway. So
Yeah.
why?
But I guess what I'm trying to say is to make to speed up that time to the App Store.
Yeah.
You have to have the least amount of bugs possible, so you can.
So I think what's happening is whenever you generate enough money for Apple, they are gonna review
Okay.
your stuff faster. So probably for Facebook it takes like 15 minutes, and they probably just right away they review it. Not the case for me or whoever just starting a new app or trying to do something like that. So
No, interesting.
it's and it can be super frustrating and stupid, and like this is a review process, but I guess it's necessary because they cannot really automate it. So I think Google does the better job with it, so they don't always manually review it.
But that's why there's a lot of viruses as well.
So that's why there's a lot of viruses. There's a lot of shit apps, like, and a lot of spam apps and like copies of other apps. But they will review it initially, and then they're kind of like, oh, just upload it, whatever. Unless I think they see a big change in the binary, or if you add some permissions. So like, let's say it wasn't using a camera and now it's using a camera, they're going in and verify why it's using the camera now. But for Apple, they check every update. So, but
Interesting.
of course, Apple is also like a better has better App Store. You kind of trust apps on the App Store more than you trust in Google Play. So
No, that's true.
but I wonder how much it's the budget for that department.
I mean, it has to be huge because, and I don't know, do you know by any chance the revenue breakdown between, let's say, App Store generation and their
I was looking at
products?
into it a long time ago, but I think so the App Store and the Google Store, it's hard for me to say. I think Google Store was bigger, but App Store, yeah, I won't.
But I think
won't
it's around. It has to be around like 10% or 20%.
Yes,
at least, right?
Something like that. So maybe the guess would be. I remember numbers around like $10 billion a year for Apple.
Yeah.
But I think it's now maybe 20 or something.
I see.
So it was kind of a long time ago. But I don't remember if it was a year or a quarter. Maybe it was 10 a quarter, or maybe it's more. No, I'm guessing now. But I remember it's being a big number. But how big it is?
Yeah. No, it's I mean, it's really cool to see that company that creates a hardware then builds I'm talking about iPhones and MacBooks and all the other product lines, and then the company creates its own proprietary like software layer on top of it, creates a platform on which other people can build their own products, and then charges them. It's just a monster, right? And that's why it's close to, or at least was close to $3 trillion company.
Yeah.
And I actually saw somewhere that I think the next market that they're looking into is cars and FinTech for Apple. FinTech makes sense, and
I don't know if it does, but okay.
We're starting seeing the Apple Cash card that they introduced a year ago,
Is
which
that a
got
flop
really.
or?
I don't think so. Look, they have access to all those users, right? They have partnership with Goldman Sachs. And we have so many users, right? You want to introduce new products to sell to them, and Apple Wallet and all of that stuff kind of leads to them introducing FinTech products. But I personally don't have Apple Card. A lot of my friends do, and what's cool is that even with this card, they have such a brand name and it looks so cool that young people actually subscribe to not the vision, but to that brand.
Yeah.
It's like pulling out Apple Card is kind of pulling out some. Well, I don't know, say Amex because it's very different. But it's just this new, modern, cool
Yeah, but
credit
the
card.
benefits of that card is garbage. So
I honestly can't comment here. I know that do they provide some sort of discounts and probably on Apple Care and other stuff?
I think they
If you use that card.
do, but it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
meh.
But interesting that a lot of young people, they're like, oh,
I
damn,
mean,
I
it
have to
looks
sign
cool.
up for that.
It's a cool app, and I don't know, but I'm pretty happy with Amex app too. So
Yeah.
I never understood why would you get it. Amazon has their own credit card too, I think.
But Amazon,
that kinda makes-
the brand that was weird, right? Amazon, I'm like, this is not real. This is not as cool as Apple.
It's not cool
Or-
at all, but
yeah.
I mean, might be more useful though.
Yeah, it's
I spend
more.
more
It's,
money
yeah, it's
on-
like less
on-
about brand and being cool and more about like practical value.
Yeah, I remember Amazon was trying to invest in FinTech too. Who are they partnering with?
Berkshire Hathaway.
Nah.
They worked on this insurance. They invested in this company called not Packer. It's a drug delivery app, I think.
No, I'm talking more of FinTech.
Oh, I don't know why. I
What
went
were they?
into the health tech?
They were trying to so they have a proprietary payment processing system. They were trying to offload it to some fintech. I don't know if it was Stripe though. Maybe it was Stripe. I'm not sure.
Offload it? You mean they sell it or
No,
like
like
outsource?
outsource
I see.
payment processing. I think that was one of the headlines I read. It was a long time ago. I don't remember what startup they used. I remember they invested in Rivian. I actually started seeing a lot of those around in LA, which is fun.
Ford was one of the big investors as well, I think.
Ford, Amazon.
They keep offloading their stock. They keep selling the stock.
I mean, that stock must be valued. That the Ford got from the IPO of Rivian must be valued more than Ford itself. Ford is like
well, not anymore, I think, but by the way, with Ford, they're still following the or trying to catch up with the innovation trends, right? There were so many pre-orders; they were completely sold out. Their new electric Mustang.
It's complete garbage.
Nope, people actually like it, and I saw it looks pretty cool. I never
looks like shit, but okay.
Really?
I mean, it just looks like a Prius. Like whenever those traditional companies, other than Porsche, I think the Taycan electrical Porsche looks just incredible. But whenever the traditional company tries to make a electrical car, it just looks like a Prius. It's fucking garbage. Like it's just horrible. They're trying to we're going into future and just.
Is it? Do you think that's
looks
because
like
of
shit? Even like the BMW, they made a 4 Series electrical 4 Series. I see them around a lot too.
Yeah.
They made those blue lines. You know how they have i3 and i8 have those blue lines like signifying electrical. Just somehow they made the BMW 4 Series look horrible with these changes that they made to make it look more futuristic, and like they removed the pipes, the exhaust pipes, and they kind of made kind of like highlighted that area that they removed it, but it looks like garbage. So like I don't know.
Do you think that's
the Ford is the worst. I mean, I when I looked at it on the screen, I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool. It's a Mustang, electrical Mustang, must be cool. When I've seen it in real life and I kind of came close and looked inside.
Where'd you see it in real life?
They're around. One of my neighbors had it, and I've seen him in Vegas when I was there. Like, it's like you look into it, it looks like a Prius. I don't know.
But do you think that's because from like mechanical and like the structure standpoint, it has to be in that way, or it's purely
Tesla
design?
looks great. kind of boring but great. And like Taycan looks amazing. Just Taycan looks incredible.
Yeah. Huh.
And those like, but those are premium cars. But the BMW is shit too. So I don't know what's.
Yeah.
I cannot
Well,
find
I think the market shows the demand is still high. Like
the demand is high. But it's just the way. So the designers that work for those companies are probably like 90 years old, and
well, I actually
they're trying to move it into futuristic design with electrical, and it always looks like shit. Try to make good car. Don't try to make it look futuristic.
I listened to a podcast on like Ford and where the I guess the main guy of the project was who was leading it, talked about like how the whole process at Ford, right? Because it's just a huge company. They've been around for a long time. The innovation is something that they don't clearly, or they don't subscribe to easily, and so they actually had to set up like a startup within the company. So they even I think had a tour around like Silicon Valley and learned how startup works, how the startup culture works.
See, it all comes from like old people trying to fit their kind of ideas into startups.
Yeah, but what's interesting? So they assembled this team, and at first the team was I guess they were excited, but not as much. And when they realized that Ford was just ready to like pour as much money as possible, he basically the leader of the project was saying like whatever idea they had, we just budget like would create a budget for it, we just finance that. And so the engineers were, I think that they created a culture where engineers kind of felt maybe a similar environment to Tesla, right? Because in Tesla, what happens is, if you're a great engineer, you just need something, they're gonna dedicate money and just buy it for you immediately. So here it happened the same. Whenever they needed something, they just order it right away because they had almost unlimited budget, and they kept building. And the main guy, who was the leader of the project, was saying, "Damn, I've never seen like innovation or a project moving so fast. Like he's basically saying, again, don't quote me, I don't remember the exact timeline, but he's basically saying that we in like a month or in 2 weeks they've done more than the Ford could have done in like a year. But the designers, I think, didn't talk too much, but they were saying that this was like the most exciting project for them.
I mean, on pictures it looks great. It just reminds me of a Prius when I look at it in person.
I have a lot of respect for Priuses, I have to say. Every time the gas price goes up, I'm like, damn, I love those Priuses actually. So and definitely have a lot of respect for owners for their car because they're being reasonable.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I've been to the there was a car show at the convention center in LA. I've been there, and they had a lot of new electric models for old brands. Pretty much no new brands were there. So like Hyundai, what else? Like Subaru had a electric car, Kia, and they all looks like Priuses.
By the way,
there was another one. There was actually an Ocean. I think what's the Ocean? Ocean is the company,
Chinese?
Right? No, I think it's American. Ocean. I don't remember if that's a car brand, but so it's like a new company doing like new electrical car startup. I was surprised by how shitty they looked. How shitty
it's
the
probably
car
the
looks.
first, like one of the first prototypes.
No, it's like not the first prototype. It's I think it's like the release version, and it looked like garbage. Like I was like surprised it looked even worse than Prius. I was like, wow, you can make a new car company and make it look like that.
Yeah.
It was surprising.
I mean, it is very, very hard.
It was Nikola, I think, or not Nikola.
Nikola.
not Nikola. Some
Nikola
other.
went bust.
Um,
Lucid.
Not Lucid.
Lucid looks cool.
Lucid looks like an old person car.
Really?
Yeah, you don't think like that?
I don't know. I mean, they're supposed to be a more like luxurious version of Tesla, right?
So Tesla is pretty boring, and Lucid looks like boring brother of Tesla. I think
Boring brother.
of a boring brother of a boring looking car. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lucid is just not for me, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence with Tesla. I think Tesla kind of. Sometimes I think it looks good. Sometimes I think it's look like.
I like the what is it? Is it Model 3 that
Mhm.
there's like more of a upper class model?
No, Model S.
Model S.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I really like Model S. I don't like the big one, Model
X.
And Y is like somewhere in the
Mhm.
middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
Really don't like those, but Model S looks sick. By the way, do you know the story behind? I've recently learned about it. The story behind the names of their car lines.
Yeah, he just wanted to spell sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I didn't know that.
Elon, classic Elon.
Yeah. What's funny is they couldn't get the E
Yeah, because
Model.
of the Ford.
or some
Mhm.
other car brand that already
I
had
think
that.
it's Ford.
Yeah. Damn. Well, I guess this Model 3 name is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, pretty memorable. But yeah, Tesla. I'm kind of on the fence. I was kind of initially I was kind of thinking I want to buy an electric car, and now I'm like they just look.
Dude, I'm
boring.
definitely buying electric car
You
next
are?
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think here in California, this gas prices are just crazy and well, you travel a lot though. You go
Yeah, I
to
go
really
places.
distant places and like I don't know, for example, if you had a trip to Arizona, what was the like the charging infrastructure?
I wanted that too, but I think you could handle it. So
Yeah, I think
if you
it's
live
pretty
with
doable.
a full
Yeah.
tank and you charge it on in the middle there, so like there is on the border there's some small kind of cities there.
Yeah.
I think that there's Indio close to the border, and then on the Arizona side there's some small town. So I think those have chargers. So if you charge there full charge, you can make it in like I think 2-3 chargers
trips.
maybe.
Yeah.
So like you have to stop somewhere for like half an hour, but
I think that's fine though. I mean, when you're traveling somewhere, half hour, you can, you use bathrooms, you go eat something, have a
Yeah.
break. Half hours is not a big deal when you're traveling.
it's actually a healthy break, I think.
Yeah.
Because you get stiff. The other problem is that sometimes they're overcrowded because it takes so long. They kind of like.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw one of those like supercharger stations. Obviously, like only
Yeah.
Teslas line
So
up.
sometimes they're overcrowded and sometimes they are down.
Down, like not working at all.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's less of a problem with Tesla supercharger network, but for what I heard for like other manufacturers that don't use Tesla superchargers, it's a constant issue, like that they're always broken. Something's not working. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
And they're not as fast too. So, but the other thing is that usually, like on a gas station, there's like maybe 10 gas pumps, but when you go to like those electric chargers, they're so much smaller and they can fit a lot of those, but sometimes the whole charging thing is down. So
That's crazy, and I mean that's so. I mean that's really bad because like what obviously you would rely on those stations, right? Let's say you're running out of miles and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna recharge soon, and then you go
Yeah,
there and
you
there's
go
the
there,
whole
it's-
station is down. That's
yeah.
bad.
And I think Tesla is good at it, and the other ones. So I don't know. Like right now, I'm on a fence. I kind of want a Tesla, but I also don't really want it.
I mean,
like-
ideally, you would want to have two cars. One on, especially for example, I'm married, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think in like next year we'll probably get another car as well, for my wife to drive, because um I don't drive as much as she does actually. But what happens is, because she needs to go to her work, she would drive me to my office, drop me off, and then drive somewhere else, and so it's really painful with one car. So if you have like one on gas and then one electric car,
I mean, you can go full electric if you don't really go outside of the city or outside of
hybrid.
California.
Yeah, if you don't go outside of California, I guess full electric is definitely doable here. And it's so good that the weather is fine here, because if you go to like East Coast, I remember having lived in Boston for 5 years. People that I knew that had Teslas, it was painful during the winter, because you start the car, you have like 150 miles, and then sometime later when the temperature goes down, like you have, you thought you were gonna have 100, but you have 50 instead, because cold temperature affects the battery. It's way less reliable. Cool, but we'll see. I like that electrification trend, and I hope that that infrastructure, the better infrastructure, is gonna be built out way sooner.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting better and better every day. I think there's a lot of money invested in those charging networks, and I haven't seen a compelling kind of so it's all to do with the volume of the cars versus like the volume, so the price of those chargers. Because if I was building like a kind of a fancier plaza today, like those those strip malls and stuff, I would probably put like those chargers everywhere. I don't know how much they cost, though. They're probably kind of pricey.
I know the government subsidizes a lot of it.
Maybe. So like if I was building like a lot of like strip mall for restaurants and stuff like that, I would put in those chargers,
parking lots. Yeah,
because it doesn't require a lot of infrastructure really. You need a good transformator somewhere, and just power it up, and it's gonna attract a lot of. But I haven't seen that popularized in like a lot of strip malls with those infrastructure points. I think at some point those chargers are gonna be at every strip mall. Everywhere is gonna be electrified, and it's gonna be super easy. And when that comes, it's like no brainer.
Yeah, the problem is gonna be solved. Cool. I guess we're good on this episode. Very very cool conversation. Thank you. You wanna close it out?
Yeah. Guys, subscribe, like, comment, share. Go to Spotify, like it there, follow it there.
True.
Go to Apple Podcast if we have it already, because Apple is taking some time to approve and all that stuff. Like it there, subscribe there. I don't know.
And give us some feedback.
Feedback. And all that. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.